All right, you ready to make the girlies mad?
I know. Well, the thing is, reminder to all the Swifties that are watching this, Taylor Swift's gonna be #1. All right? Whatever album we put in #1 is a Taylor Swift album, your favorite artist. If an album you love...
And one of our favorite artists.
And one of our favorite artists. And if an album you love gets kicked off the island a little earlier, that doesn't mean it's not great. It just means there's better stuff, in our opinion.
If it's really early off the island, that means that at least we think it's not great.
Well, yes, but just know, we love her. This is all based in love. And it's good to criticize your faves.
Yeah.
And to be like, this is your best, this is not. Hey, if I made this for Mariah, I'd say Charm Bracelet, last place.
And you know what? Your heart would bleed, but you would move on.
I would! So let's all move on.
Yes.
After watching the video.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Two Gay Mats. It's Matt Steele.
And it's Matt Palmer.
And we know that our bracket videos are popular.
People are liking them.
Everyone loves the bracket videos. Ooh, they're a lot to edit. But we figured, you know, who has the lengthy discography that is long enough to do a bracket? We did Mariah albums, because you know she has...
Do we know her #1 singles? Did we do her albums?
Oh, we did her #1 singles. We never did her albums.
I know.
Well, maybe that'll be the next video.
Exactly.
Taylor's, and you know, usually brackets have 16.
Yes.
Taylor Swift does not have 16,
Not
but you know,
yet.
give it a year and a half, and because she's churning out albums, you know,
true.
like it's candy.
Just so we all know, we're not including 1989 and 1989 TV as separate entities.
They are the same.
Because they're the same album, guys.
Are we gonna include bonus tracks in our discussion?
I think
here?
if it comes up, if we're close maybe in an
Sure.
argument, maybe we should bring up bonus tracks into the discussion.
Bonus tracks can be the tiebreaker.
Exactly.
You know, okay.
And if it comes down to it, we can always rock, paper, scissors. We've done it before.
Because there are only 10 albums, it makes the brackets like sort of not super even.
Right.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a pre-bracket session where we take our 4 least favorite Taylor Swift albums, which we both agree on.
We do.
And we're gonna have that be a bracket of like 2 on each side.
Yes.
And we'll narrow that down before we start the actual real bracket.
I mean, I think they're a part of the real bracket. You're seeing him here.
Kind of.
I didn't make this bracket up. There's got to be some football sports thing that this bracket is the way it goes. So it happens. But yes, there's a top 8 that we have to get down to because she has 10 records, and we're going to be, you know, judging these first 4 first.
We're gonna go for round 1 for 2 out of 4 of our least favorite Taylor albums. We are warning you now. You're gonna be upset.
Our opinions are not every Swiftie's opinion.
We have the least popular opinion when it comes to this. Those of you who have seen our videos before, no,
you won't be surprised.
You won't be surprised, but some of you, if you're tuning in for the first time, you might be surprised at the 2 images that pop up on your screen.
Okay, so our first round is you know, for 2 albums that are sister albums.
Yes.
Miss Folklore and Miss Evermore.
What was that sound? It was the sound of people clicking off of the video.
That's fine, that's fine. Art is subjective. So when we have Aaron Dessner and co making her, you know, let's sing this in a submarine metal 10 albums, that's not really gonna resonate with me personally, and I guess not you either.
Well, the thing with me about Folklore and Evermore is like there is truly objectively great work on it. Like I don't think that can be denied at all, especially lyrically.
Yes.
The reason why I love Taylor Swift so much is how personal her lyrics feel. When you listen to a great Taylor Swift lyric, you're just like, I know this girl. I think that's just like what makes a great artist in general. It's like if you see something that they create and you feel like you know them. And Folklore and Evermore, the concept was these aren't really personal. These I'm just like creating stories, which sometimes it can totally work. Like there are definitely songs on these albums that work really, really well. But overall, I just don't love these albums as much as her other albums because I feel like there's a lack of stakes involved. I don't feel the height of like her like needing to write these songs for personal reasons, and that's what I want from Taylor Swift.
And we all know that if you have not watched a video of mine before, I have a theory about these albums, about Midnights, the reason that she is so actively not talking about her romantic life. I think Joe Alwyn at the time was very much like, I don't want any of this publicity. I don't want people speculating about our relationship. So your next albums can't be all about fucking us. Figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, normally when I hear a Taylor Swift conspiracy theory, I'm like, okay guys, calm down. But like this one makes sense.
He's a private guy, he's an actor. The whole thing is he shouldn't be out there as his own person all the time.
Sure, but I mean, Lover was very personal.
It was.
But then Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights, 3 albums in a row that like are not personal,
and Midnights is personal, but like not personal to the exact moment.
Exact moment.
In her
That's
life,
what I meant to say.
Know?
Yes. So anyway, between Folklore and Evermore, what are like the highs of each album for you?
I like the one about the lady in her house. What's that song called?
Last Great American
Last Great American Dynasty.
Okay, that song is excellent.
It's good.
I think that song is excellent. I love Exile on Folklore.
Exile, I love. I love Illicit Affairs.
I love August. I think August is really great. I like Peace.
It's got some highlights.
It's got some highlights, and I appreciate that. Like, she was really like coming out the gate with something new here with Folklore. And then when she announced Evermore, it was like, oh, another album of stories.
I think I was less viscerally upset because I knew that this was like the lane she had moved to at that very moment. So I kind of let Evermore wash over me. And in preparation for this video, I actually listened to a lot of her albums that I don't listen to a lot, just so I would know exactly how my feelings were about it. And I think Marjorie is a lovely song.
The reason why I love Marjorie on Evermore, why it's my favorite song on Evermore, is because the second it starts, I'm like, oh, this is about something real.
Yes,
like
this is about something real.
This is about something real. And then, you know, as the song went along, I was like, probably your grandmother.
Yes.
Like, you can just feel it, like, immediately in the song.
Yes.
So, and even though Marjorie, like, it's not her best melody, like, by a mile, but like, it feels personal.
Storytelling.
And so I'm excited when I hear Marjorie, especially I think that bridge is devastating and beautiful.
And 'Tis the Damn Season.
'Tis the Damn Season is great.
Her best Christmas song.
Yes.
Santa Claus, what's her other one called?
Christmas Tree Farm.
Christmas Tree Farm, Found
Santa
Dead.
Claus.
It was like Santa Claus Lane, whatever it is.
I like Closure. I like, I like Long Story Short. I like,
It's just not something that like tugs at me to re-listen to it. And I feel like with Folklore and Evermore, it's just not my style. She's doing the ethereal, like I'm in the woods and like everything's echoing. It's like she's actively at times feels like I don't want to go for the most obvious melody. Like, look, I can do more than pop. And I think that's great that she wants to spread her wings in that way. But also knowing the fact that the way she made these albums was like people sending her tracks and her just writing on top of something that was already pre-made, like guitar-wise. And like I think of her as like does everything songwriter. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like I think the best songs that have come from her probably began with her and a guitar.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we're getting a lot of that on these records.
I just wish with Folklore and Evermore that like she took the best from each album and just made it one album. Then I'd be like, oh, we've got a real solid piece of work here. But because it was two long albums, split, it's a lot.
Right.
But anyway, we have to make a decision. I think we're just apologizing for why we don't like Folklore Evermore.
3, 2, 1, Folklore.
Even though Evermore, like, the lyrics feel a little more her.
Yes.
I think Folklore is a little more exciting just because it was something so new.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like, even if it wasn't for me, you have to respect the fact that she's just like swinging for the fences in this entirely new style and genre. She won Album of the Year, so clearly there are a lot of fans of it, so
yeah,
good for her.
Yeah, next up are our other 2 out of 4 least favorite Taylor albums, which couldn't be more opposite.
I know, right? We have the debut, Taylor Swift, and then we have Reputation. I feel like there are a lot of Reputation stands out there. I know Reputation TV is about to be announced, so I apologize if we've offended you.
The thing with the Reputation stands, though, is I feel like even though they love Reputation so much, I think they can genuinely understand why someone might not love it. Whereas like the Folklore Evermore people, they're just like, how can you not love it?
Like, what are you talking about?
So I feel like we're gonna get a little less heat for that.
Okay.
2 very different albums.
Yes.
One is like, you know, standard country, like real, like strong, like songcraft, but not like necessarily like swinging for the fences, like with like brand new ideas.
No.
Whereas Reputation is a lot of ideas.
Absolutely.
A lot of new things.
Yes,
and sometimes they work.
Delicate is such a lovely song.
Lovely song. We both love Ready For It.
We love Ready For It.
Ready For It's great, even though it does have that abrasiveness of Reputation that sometimes doesn't work. It's a great song.
Right.
I love King of My Heart Forever. I love that song.
I love that you love it.
Thank you so much. And I mean, New Year's Day is
New Year's Day.
Fantastic.
New Year's Day is that girl on this record. Also, I know you don't care about the song. Dancing with Our Hands Tied is fucking excellent.
I'm glad that you like that.
That is a great song that people do not give enough.
I mean, Look What You Made Me Do.
Such a moment.
Was a moment. You just got to be like, oh, Taylor.
Exactly.
Like, you really made a splash. Perfect first single choice because it made people talk.
And the first album has a lot of like previews of what is going to become some of my favorite Taylor Swift sounds, you know? Like you can't listen to our song and fucking I'm Only Me When I'm With You and not think, oh, Fearless Taylor's right around the corner. Like this is the girl who wrote Sparks Fly.
I mean, our song is excellent.
That was when I first took
song.
notice of her. Like, I knew the other singles. I knew the Drew Looks at Me, XYZ. But then when our song came out, I was like, I was in the car with friends. I was like, guys, you need to listen to this girl. This girl can write a fucking song. So I appreciate the highs of that song. Of course, the homophobic version of Should Have Said No is always very funny.
Yes.
And she took it off Spotify. I was like, is she gonna say it? It's like, oh, no, she doesn't. Between these two.
Yes.
What are you saying? 3, 2, 1, Reputation.
It's just a more exciting album, even though the lows are much lower. I will stand by Endgame as her worst single.
Single, absolutely. Yeah, Reputation at least is coming from a fully realized artist.
Yeah.
Where Taylor Swift, it just feels like she's finding herself and who she is. And clearly it takes her no time to find it, but it's a necessary step in her evolution, but it's not as fully realized as Reputation, even if Reputation is not our favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, should we go to the top left?
All right, now, the real bracket begins.
The other part was the real bracket.
Yeah.
This is just the top 8.
Okay.
We have Folklore, which just won its round, versus Red.
Okay, well, I mean, people know what we're gonna make.
You know my feelings on Red.
Yes.
I don't think Red's a perfect album.
No.
I think Red actually falls apart after track 10, but the highs on fucking
Are
Red.
astronomical.
I mean, All Too Well. We literally could just say All Too Well, but we're also going to say, we're never getting back together. Fucking I Knew You Were Trouble. Holy Ground.
What's the opening track?
State of Grace.
State of Grace.
Absolutely.
State of Grace is gorgeous. Even the acoustic
version's lovely.
Both are brilliant.
You know what song is fucking great?
What?
I Almost Do.
Oh,
Every time I don't, I almost do. This
And
is the album that got me going to fucking Papa John's to pick up that pizza box with Red's picture on it.
You did make me go to Papa
I
John's
did.
for that pizza. You bought so many pizza boxes.
I did.
And you know I love 22. Go to hell. I love 22.
That's good.
Even though, yes, like we do both agree that like the last third like is not as good as the first 2/3.
Yes.
But Begin Again is great and you don't give it enough.
Begin Again is fine.
Begin Again is great.
It's fine. It's like, okay, it works, and like it's better than like the last few songs we've heard, but it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Next up, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of yapping in my ear in 1 second. We have 1989 versus Lover. Unapologetic, big pop, spring, summer kind of album.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard, if we're just going by eras reference,
of course.
it's hard, you can't beat the 1989 era.
Yeah.
Like that was when she was on top of the world, top of every chart, on the radio consistently all the fucking time, which I guess she is now with Cruel Summer, ironically. Yeah. But it was like Taylor Swift was taking over the world with that record. Again, not a perfect album. This is an album with Welcome to New York on it. So of course, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, I remember listening to that album again on a plane maybe like a year ago or something. And like that just stretch from the Blank Space to Styled Out of the Woods is like, again, one of the great 3 song sets of all time.
It's such a cohesive album,
Yes.
and it was so like new and fresh and exciting. The Jack Antonoff was really taking off and everything. Blank Space and Out of the Woods, to me, are full-blown masterpieces.
Absolutely.
Pop songs. As much as I adore Lover, and Lover gets very high for me, those 2 songs, it's impossible to get higher than those 2.
I must say, you don't give Style enough.
I don't.
I think you've
Style
never cared about Style enough.
Not as much as you.
As much as most people. Like, you don't even think it's, like, what do you think's better, Style or 22?
That's 22.
Oh, fuck you! Justice for Style.
Style, I think, is good. It's very good.
It's excellent.
But it's not Blank Space or Out of the Woods if we had to rank the 3, girl. Like, let's be
I
real.
think it's very much more in the conversation than you're giving it. We're also talking about fucking I Know Places.
Oh,
We're
great.
talking about Clean.
Oh.
Like, these are career songs.
Yeah.
And I love Lover.
Listen.
I love Lover. And I love Cruel Summer. And we can't say it's underrated anymore.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Listen, I'm gonna talk about Lover.
I know you are. Everyone buckle the fuck up.
My issue with 1989 is the lyrics aren't as personal as we're used to hearing from a Taylor Swift album at that point. Sonically, it was so excellent. And obviously Blank Space, Out of the Woods. But even though Lover is a flawed album,
It's not as consistent.
It's not as consistent. The lyrics on Lover and Lover overall as an album feel more personal to me. It feels more like a Taylor Swift pop album than 1989 does.
I understand what you're saying. It definitely is not as like polished and like radio, like this is going straight to like FM radio right now. When you get songs like Cornelia Street and Death by a Thousand Cuts and the title track and Cruel Summer, like those are Taylor Swift like infusing her songwriting abilities in a pop format where it was like, we're just trying to do the pop format on 1989. Yeah. I think the issue with Lover is the lack of consistency.
But like 1989 has Bad Blood.
But,
and you know,
I mean, look at this track list.
Yes, Lover is far too long.
Yes.
You Need to Calm Down is great. If that was the first single, like I think it would have been really good.
Yes.
Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
Good.
Paper Rings.
Paper Rings is great. I think, I Forgot You Existed being track 1. The Man. The Archer for me.
I like The Archer.
A little plodding. You don't like False God, which is wrong. False God is great.
False God I can acknowledge and I appreciate that she's doing something different. It's just I don't need to hear it again.
London Boy is dreadful.
I wouldn't say dreadful.
Dreadful.
I would say it could be cut.
I mean, I know you love it.
My heart goes to Lover. My heart goes to Lover. And yes, I get it. Like, objectively, 1989 is a better album.
It is. So we're gonna say the 3, 2, 1, and then we'll see what we can do. 3, 2, 1, 1989.
Girl. I know.
Do you want to fight for Lover?
Because here's the thing, I feel like another album, like duo coming up, will be like the Heart album, or the objectively, like each song is a banger album.
Yes.
And I feel like the each song is a banger album will win over the Heart album, so I would like to give a Heart album.
I mean, if you want to have Lover here, we can put it there.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Guys. You're insane about this album.
I know,
like,
everyone's
truly wild.
I know.
Like, no one would choose that.
And I can acknowledge that. But the heart wants what it wants, okay?
Well, keep this in mind, everyone watching and your fucking self, when we get to later rounds.
All right.
All right, I gave you this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Fearless versus Reputation. Fearless. Fearless. Fearless is a perfect pop record. This is beyond an era thing. This is like she honed in on who she was as a songwriter and was writing hit after hit after hit after hit. You are never going to look at me and say that fucking Love Story and fucking the fucking Bleacher song. What's that song? You Belong With Me.
Oh my God.
This is that album for me.
Yeah,
Hey Steven.
Forever and always.
Forever.
All versions.
Every version. The Way I Loved You. Fucking You're Not Sorry. Tell me why.
I love the title track.
I love the title track. Like this is an album that is tough to beat consistency-wise, melodically-wise.
Minus some of the bonus tracks.
Right, but we're not talking bonus tracks.
No.
This could be a greatest hits collection, and she's on her sophomore record.
Every song is excellent. I mean, like if you had to pick a least favorite song,
Change.
You would pick Change, which I don't know why. I like
sucks.
Change. My least favorite would probably be White Horse.
Okay.
White Horse is just a little like sad.
It's a little sad and like a little like like I'm the victim. Like when people think of like old school Taylor Swift, it's like, oh, she always paints herself as a victim. That song doesn't help.
This is a small town. It's just like, okay, girl. That's like the only criticism I have for like Fearless. Is that
Man Forever and Always is great.
I know! Fearless is practically a perfect album.
By the way, this was up against Reputation. So, you know what we're putting here?
We're putting it there.
We are. Next up, we have Speak Now versus Midnights.
Which one do we talk about first?
I mean, let's talk about Midnights first.
Okay.
Midnights has some very high highs.
Yeah, you're on your own.
You're on your own, kid. Again, a song that needs to be in the conversation for like her career best all the time. I think Mastermind is also up there. It is an excellent piece of music.
I love it opening with Lavender Haze. I think Lavender Haze is like such a fresh sound for her.
Yes.
And like really cool and sexy.
And I know we weren't always talking about the bonus tracks, but you can't not talk about Would've, Could've, Should've.
Why?
Like,
why? Why was it a bonus track?
Unbelievable. This being the part 2 of Dear John so long after, and it's like adding a new depth, more color, more detail, and the same intensity. How are these emotions still so accessible to you so long after the events?
And what I love about Would've, Could've, Should've is like, it has been years since we've had like a 6-minute like epic Shane Jam, like All Too Well,
Yes.
Dear John,
Yes.
Last Kiss, like
Yes.
like those things. It's been so long since we've had like one of those songs of hers that feels epic
Yes.
in its content, and Would've, Could've, Should've is,
It is that.
song.
Ooh, God, I love that fucking song.
Why was it not on
It's
the
shocking.
album? It's shocking. I mean, like a lot of the songs she released like in the Midnights era that weren't on the album, like I think are great. I think Hits Different is excellent.
You love You're Losing Me too, right?
I love
Yeah.
You're Losing Me. I think The Great War is great. Damn you. But those, you know, are all bonus tracks.
She was in the middle of the re-records, and
Yes.
so it was like Taylor was all over the place all the time.
Yeah, so I feel like she put it out kind of too quickly, and like had she like waited a little bit,
Right.
like she could have gotten like better songs consistently on the album.
I agree
you
with
know,
that. I agree with that.
Like we could have had You're Losing Me like on the album instead of Question. So I feel like Midnights was kind of just like, even though it is a good album, I would never call it bad. It's just kind of an album that I don't think was overly like needed.
Yes.
Like at the moment it came out,
You know what album was needed the moment it came out?
It's needed every moment.
It really is.
Of every day.
Speak Now was my favorite Taylor Swift album for a very long time. It is the album that I think about when I think about moving to LA, and you just list the songs off. The highlights for me are most of the fucking songs. Mine, Sparks Fly, Speak Now, Dear John, Mean, Enchanted. Enchanted, Last Kiss. This is a collection of music.
I know.
That I will never forget.
Speak Now to me is the quintessential Taylor Swift album.
I mean, it's the album she wrote it alone.
It's the album she wrote alone, and you can tell.
You can.
And that is what makes this album so special. It's not perfect.
No, we all Never Grow Up.
And innocent, no one loves. But despite it not being like as consistent as, something like Fearless.
Yes.
Like it feels the most her. So whenever anyone is like, I don't know anything about Taylor Swift, what should I listen to first? I will, even though other albums might be technically more consistent, I will always say Speak Now. Because Speak Now to me feels like the most Taylor album. It's the album where I feel like I'm getting the most her out of.
What a title track. Oh, what a title track.
Adorable, hilarious, hooky.
How is there not a video for that song?
I know.
Right?
It feels so youthful and young and fresh, and you could be like 80 years old and you're still relating to it. Like, that's what makes it so great. She brings out just like the 17-year-old girl in all of us.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah, I mean, Speak Now versus Midnights.
Speak Now.
Hello.
I mean, we're Speak Now people. Okay, now back to the left side of the grid. We're down to Red and Lover. Two albums I wouldn't call consistent. But two albums with great stuff.
I mean, the highs on Red.
Highs on Red. The highs on Red. That's all I'm gonna say.
The highs on Red.
And you've got Lover has done such a great job in this bracket.
I
Being
know.
in the final
You
four.
did. Yes, I know. The thing with Lover though is like when there's a low, it's like low and then back to a high. It's not like Red where it's like high.
That's a sequencing issue, not exactly like an album quality issue.
Oh, but I had to go to bat for my
I
girl.
know you do. And she did a beautiful
And she
job
did do a
here.
beautiful job.
And
Thank
Cruel
you.
Summer, Cornelia Street, Death by a Thousand Cuts. We'll never
I
forget
think
you.
he knows.
I think he knows. We'll never forget you.
We'll never forget you.
Red it is.
Because you can't, any album where that All Too Well is on.
I know. We're talking All Too Well. She's walking that fine line between pop and country so beautifully. Now we're in a tough spot.
These are the two albums I thought would be the final two.
I almost put one of them over there, but then I was like, no, I feel like we need to have like newer Taylor represented more than like just album two versus album.
Because Fearless and Speak Now, I will say both of our favorite Taylor.
Absolutely. Absolutely our
Not that
favorite.
we're spoiling the ending here.
I, again, historically, for a long time, would have called Speak Now my favorite album. It's only in re-listens in the past 2 years that the brilliance of Fearless becomes more and more evident to me. Like you listen to it and it's like, not just like everything's consistently good, the level of like quality and the consistency throughout is like an 8.7. And this is a girl who's written one other album that was almost like a rough draft, and now she's knocking it out of the park for 12 to 14 tracks.
It's impressive.
It's impressive.
Wildly
It is a
impressive.
feat. Like Speak Now obviously has the personal heft. She wrote it alone, and those songs like the Dear Johns. Like, you're not getting a Dear John on Fearless. Like, there was more for her to express in her, like, storytelling and, like, grow into that artist.
I mean, like, that's Dear Johns and, like, Enchanted and those, The Last Kisses. Those are, like, the Titanics of songs.
They are.
They're monsters.
They are.
They're epics.
They are.
They're undeniable.
They are.
They are Taylor.
But,
okay, I mean, my personal choice would be Speak Now, but you did give me Lover A.
I did.
And you also cannot deny that, like, objectively, song for song.
That's the thing. It's just like, as an objective listener of music, this is a near perfect album.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often.
Sometimes you gotta follow your heart, but sometimes you do gotta follow your brain.
You do!
So,
and this is a brain choice.
Yeah, just know that these two are our two favorite albums.
Yes!
We're picking Fearless, by the way.
Okay, well, I guess, spoiler alert, do we even have to discuss it? Red is excellent. All Too Well is her best fucking song. We love you, Red, and Silver Medal is nothing to sneeze at.
It doesn't need to be as long as it is, though.
I didn't say, I was thinking about the positives.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if we, like, cut, like, maybe, like, 4 songs.
Then we'd really have a competition.
We'd have a competition.
Yes.
But, like.
Gotta cut 22, though. Fearless is! Fearless, the woman that you are.
I mean.
I love you, girl. This is clearly from the perspective of a young woman who's high school aged, but, like, the wisdom beyond her years that's coming through, even though, like, her songwriting is going to grow into an even larger direction. But this is a person who knows how to craft a pop song, knows how to tell a story, and knows how, like, the hooks are unstoppable on this record, and I can't say enough good things about it.
She's just really great at being young and looking back on, like, 2 years prior, like when she was 15 by chance, and looking back and realizing how much she's grown, but also still acknowledging I'm still young.
Yes.
And like, and being aware of that and being grounded enough in that. Not being like, I know so much now, but just being like, oh, I knew less than I know now.
Yes.
I'm still learning. Like, that's the essence that, like, this album and, like, Speak Now, like, give off. She's so honest. There are no airs about it with Fearless.
It's not an easy feat to be that young and have your music feel so universal. It's an album that I could have grown out of if the songs were not masterful.
I mean,
but they are.
The thing is, like, when I work at my restaurant, on the playlist, Love Story plays every day, and every day I sing along to it in front of the customers.
Good for you.
Because I have to.
As
because
you should.
I talk to your dad, go pick out a white dress.
Yes!
But that is not the most thrilling lyric for a girl of 17 or a man of 35. I don't know what is.
I can't wait till someone says that to you. Go pick out your white dress.
He's out there somewhere.
Oh, well, guys, tell us below how you feel about our Taylor Swift bracket. If you would have different choices, let us know. Remember, we love Taylor.
Yes, well, and that's the thing that I think is so, I say this all the time, I think that is what is so special about Taylor is literally you get any 2 Taylor Swift fans in a room together, their rankings of her albums will look nothing alike.
Absolutely.
Like, each specific album speaks something so differently to each individual person.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even if, like, we don't particularly care for, like, a specific album, the fact that it does speak so much to so many other people, you're a special artist.
Absolutely.
You know?
I know. So thank you, Taylor, for all of the art, all the music. We'll see you for Reputation TV, and we'll have opinions.
I know. Tune in for our Reputation TV.
Exactly, whenever that's gonna be. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Matt Palmer Music.
And it's Matt Steele.
And at 2 Gay Mats for both of us. So we have a podcast that comes out every Monday called 2 Gay Mats, TWO. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really enjoy us and want to see some of that bonus content we were mentioning earlier, go to patreon.com/2gaymats for more of us. And Matt Steele.
Yes.
Who do we need to give shout outs to?
We need to give shout outs to our legendary patrons, and their names are Jen, Jacob, Jeff, Montana, Matthew, Jesse, Dallas, Sarah, Sam, Corinne, and Dr. Woods.
We love you all so much. Thank you so much, and we'll be back soon with more 2 Gay Mats.
Bye.
Bye.